discuss the New York Football Giants and their win over the Carolina Panthers and Baker Mayfield. Some may say Faker Mayfield. And Ben McAdoo-doo's, and going to 2-0. What that means for the rest of the season, my undying love for Don Wink Martindale, and how I'm clinging to the Dan wagon. I don't know if I'm a dimes guy anymore. Oh no. And maybe we'll preview the whiteout. I don't know if you've heard, there's a whiteout Monday night against the Cowboys, Monday Night Football. A whiteout. So we'll preview that game. Let's talk about the New York Football Giants. Let's do it. Me and you. I'm excited about Big Blue. There's a lot to think about. There's a lot going through my mind when we get the opening kickoff, fumble recovery, and then we don't score a touchdown. We kick a field goal. And then our defense forces a fumble. And we recover it in enemy territory. And we don't score a touchdown, and we kick another field goal. God bless United States of America, but more importantly, God bless Graham Gano. What a fucking signing that guy has been. 56-yarder to win it, like not really an issue, you know? And I don't even think I was worried about that kick that much. There was a part of me that was like, wouldn't this be the one that he misses? Because like he's going to miss one. I think he missed one last year or something like that. And it was just like, it was like I got stone cold stunned, my man. It was just like, whoa, Gano missed? Gano missed that? Was it a bad snap? So God bless Graham Gano. God bless Don Wink Martindale. I'm in love with that motherfucker. I can't emphasize or reiterate enough how important that man is to our 2-0 record. Yes, Brian Daboll's showed testicular fortitude, and without his decision making, we probably don't win that first game. But I think 100% of the win for this one goes to Wink Martindale, because the offense was not doing him any favors. I mean, there was a challenge. Daboll and Martindale laid down the gauntlet to the fans. Like, we need you out there. You need to make noise. And I think for the most part, people showed up and people were loud. But man, dude, it takes a lot of fucking wind out of your sails. You know, when you have those opportunities early on to go up 14-0 and you don't take them. I mean, luckily you have a great kicker that can give you at least 6 points, but that was you don't want to let the Panthers hang around. I mean, that essentially is kind of what happened in week 1 with them, right? With the Browns. It was like the Browns didn't really put them away, and then they came on strong in the fourth quarter. So that's what was tough to swallow in that first half. I mean, just like no Saquon wasn't getting any opening, any yardage. I think he had like negative yards or maybe 0 yards in the first half rushing. And Daniel Jones, I've been an avid defender of Daniel Jones. I mean, avid defender of Daniel Jones for 3 years, because it was like year 3 is his make or break year. And then it was like, and they got hurt, and it was like, well, they win with him. They don't win without him. So I guess it wasn't a make or break year. They don't pick the 5th-year option, which I kind of agree with. It's like, why are you going to lock yourself into such an unsure thing? It's one thing if he starts every game, 16 games for 3 seasons, and puts up like somewhat above average numbers, and you don't pick up the 5th-year option. I mean, the guy misses a handful of games every year. But it's still weird how they do win with him. Like, and he has more wins each year. I think his first year he had like 2 or 3 wins. Second year he has like 4 wins. Third year is 5 wins. So it's like he's winning more, and his winning percentage is getting better. It's just like we'll hit a winning record in like year 10 of his contract. So still though, it's like, and I was avid defender of Daniel Jones, but I can't do it anymore, dude. He just, too many blown opportunities, too many mistakes. He could have very easily lost us the game on Sunday, and he would have been the reason we lost, really. Not seeing wide open receivers, because he refuses to fucking look up for his receivers when he's scrambling. He didn't really look like this, I don't think, in 19 or 20-ish. I think it started to kind of happen maybe last year, but like if he has to move, deviate from his, like he takes his drop back, and as soon as he senses something or feels something closing in, he immediately looks down either at the bodies around him, or he looks towards the ground, like for open grass to run. Like, dude, eyes up here. Okay. And I think that's his biggest issue right now, is that he didn't have a necessarily clean pocket a lot of the time. And he was getting a decent amount of pressure. And he's one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league for sure last year, but like you see it with Mahomes, Herbert, Roethlisberger when he played, definitely with Rodgers, even Brady to a certain extent. The ability to move within the pocket while keeping your eyes downfield and finding the open guy. I mean, those are the most, I forget who said it. It might have been Justin Pennick on Talking Giants, but like those are the most successful plays. A broken play breaks down, QB scrambles. You typically have a higher percentage of explosiveness because now it's a free for all. It's a scramble, and he just has not been able to do that. And it's so funny because someone tweets out like, for all those people shitting on Daniel Jones, blah, 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 like just look at this clip. And it's Brian Daboll, the Brian Daboll show on YouTube, talking about Daniel Jones' run to basically secure the win on third down, where it's like they needed a first down to really officially put the nail in the coffin. And he was able to do that, where it's a play action. He fakes to his left, boots right, kind of a speed boot. And he has David Sills crossing over the middle, and then he has Saquon in the flat or on a wheel, and maybe another mid-range receiver who is covered. But like Sills is open. Sills is holding his hand up saying, hey, over here. And Daniel Jones like doesn't take it, which they've all applauded. He was like, I don't know if you want to take that risk when we're like trying to salt away the clock, right? Milk the clock and end this game. And he doesn't pull the trigger, and he's able to scramble and find the first down. Literally, other than maybe one other throw and, obviously that one touchdown drive, he played like shit. Like, you can't pretend like that. And I fucking still have, I do have an ounce, okay? I do have a shred of hope that Daniel Jones it's gonna turn on. The switch is gonna turn on this year. But if you look at my tweets during that fucking game, I called for his benching multiple times. I'm like, this is a winnable game. We can't lose it because our quarterback is not making throws. Just make the throw. So many times he had people open. Just take a step to your left, take a step to your right, or take a step up in the pocket. Find like shift, shuffle, strafe. If this were Tomb Raider on PlayStation 1, strafe. You got to strafe, right? Strafe that. Find the open receiver, make the play, make the throw. And he just not doing it. And so I called for him to be benched because, Tyrod Taylor looked worse than Daniel Jones in preseason. But I gotta think he's gotta scramble and make these throws. Although people have made the point that Taylor would probably make worse decisions in those pressure situations, high pressure situations, and throw interceptions or whatever. But to me, it was like, it can't get any worse than this. I mean, the guy's like, he's gun shy, he's shell shocked, and I don't think he's gonna really recover. Like he's been battered around too many times. And I'm officially at the point where I think they should actually stop calling like the designed runs. I honestly just don't. I think you're asking for trouble. And maybe that's the intention. It's like, hey, let's just keep calling design runs. Maybe he'll hurt himself. And they'll be like, oh, we tried playing him, but he gets too injury prone. Conspiracy brain. But it's just tough to watch, and I don't know that it's going to get any better, despite what I think is happening on the sidelines with Daboll, coming at him and criticizing him and being like he needs to play better. This offense leaving points on the board, so many yards missed, chunk yards missed. It's tough to swallow. But that's why I think like to me, it feels like the only thing holding back this team is the offense. Which is a lot, but you got to figure like the running game kind of comes along. I mean, it finally picked up in the second half, and Saquon ended up with 72 yards and 21 carries, which is not a great average, but ain't that better than the fucking in 2020 and 2021 when his final stat line would be like 10 carries, 9 yards. So it's not that. So the rushing offense, the running offense, especially after what Carolina must have seen on tape against Tennessee in the first week, they must have been like, all right, we got something for that. Yeah, we got something for that. Even after they stacked the box and whatnot to come out in the second half and put on that showing, which just reinforces my faith in the rushing offense. And then the passing offense is just an unmitigated disaster, even though it's not the play calling. Like I think last year and the year before, it was Jason Garrett and his bullshit play calling and uncreativity and not motioning pre-snap. And I mean, the list goes on. The design and the scheme is there. It's the personnel that are just like, what is going on? Kenny Golladay, 2 snaps, dude. David Sills playing over him and getting more snaps than most people, getting more targets than people, way higher up on the depth chart than him. Darius Slayton, did he dress? I mean, if you were to sit there after the 2022 NFL draft and say, hey, on paper, look at this receiving crew. And don't we always say that every fucking season, before every season with the Giants? Dude, look at this receiving crew. And then they don't pan out. It happened in 2016. It happened in 2017. 2016 was like, it's the return of Victor Cruz. And now we have OBJ. And we have, who else do we have? It wasn't Brandon Marshall, was it? I don't think so. But there was a third guy. And it's just like, look on paper, look at this fucking receiving crew. And then 2017 was like, we added in Brandon Marshall, and it was like, look at who we got. And we have Evan Ingram, dude. Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, OBJ, Victor Cruz, Brandon Marshall. And no one would surpass 100 catches. No one surpassed 1,000 yards. Like, our entire unit got hurt in 2017. So, not that I was having that same kind of, but it was hard to be like, dude, if we stay healthy, and that's what happened. That's what didn't happen last year. You know, Golladay missed a few games. Tony must have missed a bunch of games. Shep missed a bunch of games. But now it's like, okay, now they're all back. And like Shepard's like not necessarily 100%. Maybe Galladay's not really 100%. And apparently Tony's not 100%. But on paper, you know, Golladay, Shepard, Tony, Slayton, you know, it's like that's a pretty good 1 through 4. And then we're now 2 weeks into the season, and Richie James, who I think was 6th on the depth chart, is our leading receiver, is our wide receiver number 1. And then David Sills is getting more targets than Kenny Golladay. Kenny Galladay's 2 snaps, dude. 2. What the fuck did he do to Brian Daboll? Same with Tony. It's like, and I mean, these are some interesting lessons he's deciding to teach to some grown-ass men, man. Interesting lessons. Like, Tony must have obviously, I mean, the implication with Tony, there was a theory that he didn't know the playbook, and which I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know. Call me crazy. There was an implication he didn't know the playbook, which odds are probably that's not the case. A conspiracy theory that he is secretly hurt, but they didn't release it, which is illegal. But no, the main theory that we have actually seen is that he doesn't give his 100% in practice. And then so Brian Daboll is rewarding the players that put in 110%, tireless effort, a lot of hustle, enthusiasm. He's rewarding those players like David Sills. And I assume Richie James. Maybe Golladay had pulled the same shtick like leading up to week 2. Like, hey, this is bullshit. I only had 2 catches on 2 targets or whatever in the first game. And he probably had a little bit of attitude about that, and Daboll saw it or caught wind of it and maybe kept a closer eye on him during practice and was like, all right, cool, man. Check this out. 2 snaps. Holy fuck. And then, of course, Golladay gets injured. And, I mean, not injured. Interviewed, and is like, I should play regardless. And it's like, that's not the greatest quote that you could have said right there. Not the greatest. Could have been better. But Daboll has kept like reiterating that it's about competitiveness. We're trying to breed competition and competitiveness in that room. There's a lot of competition in that room. We want competitors and competitiveness. He just keeps saying that word. So it makes me think, by what Tony has done in practice, or what Golladay, the demeanor that Golladay has doesn't like inherently scream competitive. And maybe this is Daboll's way of getting them to be competitive. Maybe all he wanted Golladay to do in that situation was to lose his shit and get in his coach's face and be like, put me out there, coach, give me the fucking ball. Like, maybe he wanted that, even though it's kind of disrespectful, especially in front of everyone. I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to he just wants to see a little more interest. It just feels like a very like college move, like a high school move. It doesn't seem like these are professional ball players with like wives and children move. Like, it just I don't know. But he's 2-0, so no one's questioning it. If we were 0-2, my God, the pitchforks would be out. But I don't know. I guess he knows what he's doing. I just took him to be coach of the year in a future plus 900. No big deal. But yeah, I really hope it turns around, because it's like Sills is not that bad, but like we're paying $72 million for this guy to be literally a game changer. Like, you can't be one of the most highest paid receivers in the league and no show, just straight up no show. It just can't keep trending that way, right? So who knows? Maybe Dayball sees the interview from Golladay and is like, cool, man, good to see you learned your lesson. 0 snaps, healthy scratch. Like, how far is he going to take it? I mean, he's obviously got balls, and maybe this is like, just, you wanted a guy with balls? Here's a guy with balls. How's not playing your top 2 receivers back-to-back games for balls, dude? Holy smokes. So, I'm so thoroughly impressed with Martindale and his defense. It's just such a refreshing breath of fresh air. I mean, and I love Patrick Graham, and it sucked to see him go. I really wanted him to stick around, and I think, the way that the Giants handled the whole situation really made him sour about the whole experience, and he was like, I'm fucking out of here, man. But in hindsight, what a blessing. Can you imagine this current personnel roster on the defensive side of the ball under Patrick Graham in the scheme that he has? We would be giving up 30 points a game. Definitely 30 points a game, if not 25 points. We would see at least 2 to 3 extra field goals per week, and that would be 2 losses right there, 0-2. The biggest difference, in my opinion, is they're kind of related. Third down efficiency, time of possession. Giants crushed in time of possession. First quarter, we had like 10 fucking minutes of possession and only 6 points. Outrageous. We ended the game with 35 minutes of possession to Carolina's 24, and that is because, we get off the field on third downs. We get off, dude. That was as the bend but not break defense can drive a man to the moon, to a padded room for sure. The amount of third and longs, third and not manageables that were getting converted in Patrick Graham's system, it was tough. And it takes a toll on the defense because they're out there for more plays. They're out there, expanding more energy. And eventually you can't count on them when it comes to the end of the first half and end of the game. Why? Because they've been on the field the whole fucking game. That's why they collapse in the last 2 minutes of every half, because they're tired as fuck. So it's like, I feel like a whole different person watching Wink Martindale's defense and seeing them get off the field on third downs, especially third and shorts, fourth and shorts. Those kind of stops are just critical, not just for getting off the field, but for momentum, mindset, psychology, everything, dude. The one stat was 2 of 12. They were 16% third down efficiency for Carolina. Whoa. I mean, we were at 33%, not that much better. Double it, but still not. I think the league average is 40 something, isn't it? Maybe not. But it was the same in the first game. Get off the field on third down. Third down comes around, we shut her down. No more of this we'll let them pick this up, but no big plays. Just no big plays. Oh, please, no big plays. None of that shit. Let's pin our ears back and let's get after it. I mean, the amount of blitzes that he throws, the variety of looks. I mean, we have DBs that are leading the team in sacks because he likes to blitz from the secondary, which I love, because how do you pick up on that? You would need a top echelon offensive line. So yeah, when we face the better offensive lines, that shit's probably not going to fly, but it's just nice to win against the teams that don't have the great offensive lines. So I fucking love our defense, man. And what has there been a weirder career path / trajectory for 2 players on the same team than 2 2019 draft picks in Justin Love? You stupid little boy. O'Shane Ximines and Julian Love. Those guys, a lot of expectations placed on them. Some would say that Julian Love was the second coming of Christ. Okay, exaggeration, but O'Shane Ximines was supposed to be he got off to a pretty decent rookie season and was okay, this is seems like a pass rush specialist, and maybe he's a watered down OCU Minora-esque type player. Julian Love is supposed to be this Swiss Army knife, 5-tool player, can play multiple positions. And 2019 happens and you guys see flashes here and there. 2020 happens and they disappear. 2021, it's are they on the roster still? And then all of a sudden 2022, Julian Love is a fucking captain? What? And he leads the team in tackles? And he has a sack and he has 2 tackles for loss. And it's what? Is he a perennial Pro Bowler now? What? And all you heard was such high praise from the organization, the coaching staff. They fucking love him. But it was like Pat Shurmur, like I think Pat Shurmur like should have just didn't play him. And then Joe Judge didn't really play him at all either, because we had McKinney, Peppers, and blah, blah, blah. And then he's a captain and he's now leading the team in like tackles and like, and he's like the spokesman for the fucking team. I feel like I see him on Good Morning Football and I see him like everywhere on my timeline. Like he's now like outspoken and he's defending players and, you know, squashing beefs and like, you know, he's the mouthpiece of the organization. It's like, what the fuck just happened? So I don't know. I mean, I'm on board with it. I think I'd like to see him be a lifelong Giant if possible. I love lifelong Giants, dude. So what an interesting start to his career. Same for Zimenez. Like, is this the turning point for Zimenez? He got like a glowing review or endorsement from Martindale, which I don't think Martindale is that kind of guy where he's just going to throw around, you know, credits left and right, just doling out flowers like it's the fucking Rose Bowl, my dude. But it's interesting how one coaching staff loves 2 or 3 players, turnover, new coach, and like completely just puts other players like in the shadows, like brushes them under the carpet, the rug. And then a new coach, completely new coaching staff comes in and they're like, oh no, these 2 guys are awesome. They're like, they're starting and they show a lot of grit and like all the things that we're looking for in a player. And it's just like, humans are weird, man. Humans are weird. And I don't know that you would see that with a lot of teams where it's like a player suffers so much under one organization and then absolutely fucking thrives the very next year with a new coaching staff. I don't know that you see that often. Love how he's using Xavier McKinney. Love that. Adoree Jackson is like fucking awesome. And he's probably going to a Pro Bowl and should be an all-pro. I mean, he's putting on a goddamn show. They started Cordell Flott because Robinson has the appendectomy and Flott ends up giving up a touchdown. I think they ended up replacing with Fabian Moreau, the vet from the Falcons who started off in the practice squad. But Tony Jefferson up from the practice squad, and he was shown in a couple of blitz packages. But Jihad Ward is like a run-stopping machine, and then they actually used him in coverage on some blitz packages, which was interesting. It's just so nice to see a coaching staff use their heads and actually put a lot of trust in their personnel to be like, hey, I'm going to call this sweet play. And yeah, it might be a little bit on the risky side, but you need to pull it off. And if you do pull it off and we're successful, I love you for it. And it's like the players respond by like, fuck yeah, dude, this is why we're here. Let's go. So it's nice as opposed to Judge and Graham, whereas like we're going to be, all right, so we're just going to run a bunch of 10-yard curls and then we'll take a knee on 4th and 3 from inside our 10 or 3rd and 3 from inside our 10. And then, we'll play prevent defense pretty much the whole entire game. Just let them catch it in front of you. Nothing bad will happen. To go from that to, all right, we're going to go for 2 at the end of the game to win the game on the road, or it's 4th and 3 or 3rd and 3. And I have a rookie starting at the outside cornerback position. And I'm missing my 2 leading pass rushers. And I just found out that my star defensive tackle, highest paid player on the team, on the defense, is out for the rest of the game. Let's send the house. What? Oh my God. I fucking love it. And make no mistake, dude, the coaching is why we're at 2-0, which is why I can't believe the route that the offense is taking with Dable and Kafka. I cannot believe what they've honestly gone with and ran with. And they're not trying to tank. They're trying to win. And they're voluntarily making these moves that are seriously should be impacting the game. So, we eked out a win. Another close one, but a win's a win. Rather be 2-0 than 1-1. We often lose in past years in those same situations. This season is very reminiscent of the 2016 season to a certain degree, where it's top 5 defense, top 10 defense, stout, not a lot of points per game. So I think we were 2nd in the league that year in points allowed per game. And it feels but this defense feels even better than that defense. And I really love that defense, that 2016 defense. That was a fucking awesome defense, but I think this one's better. and not with nearly like half the talent, I don't think. But that's what makes this coaching staff so incredible, is like the ability to say, okay, this dude, he's not going to play 100% of the snaps, but he's really good at this one thing. So if we know when to use him for those certain elements, for those certain plays, and he gets 50% of snaps, but 100% of his reps are good, we're in the money. So like, that's what's so impressive about them. So impressive, dude. But I don't know. I feel like it's like, if you lose, like, first of all, it's great to have Dane Belton in the mix. I think he adds like another great element. I mean, they were playing like Martindale. I know, like, when was the last time, you know, at the beginning of the game when they kind of go through, they put up the offensive players and the defensive players, they introduce them on the screen, or, you know, they show the who's on the field or who's starting. When was the last time that you saw a Giants defense get introduced? And it was like they had one linebacker and like 4 safeties. It literally was like Julian Love is playing the Mike or the Will, or like the inside linebacker position, and they had like another 3 safeties on the field. Dane Belton, Xavier McKinney, Julian Love, Tony Jefferson. I mean, like, dude, that's just like music to my ears. So big win, and it's revenge on Baker Mayfield for his GQ interview fucking 3 years ago. 4 seasons ago, which, you know, it's like the dude was 23 getting interviewed by GQ. I don't know. And it's not like Daniel Jones outperformed Baker Mayfield. I mean, I think if you put Baker Mayfield on the Giants, he puts up better numbers than Daniel Jones. I don't know that he misses a lot of those throws, but what are you gonna do? I mean, the biggest concern for us was the secondary heading into the season. And look, they didn't even give up 50 yards to any of the receivers on the Panthers. I mean, DJ Moore could be a superstar. I mean, Robbie Anderson is kind of a big play guy, right? Receiver. So it wasn't like they didn't have many weapons. Christian McCaffrey, you know, he ran for 100 some odd yards, but it never felt like he took control of the game and it was like, we have to stop Christian McCaffrey. It was just like, all right, he rips off a big run here or there, and it didn't feel like he was causing as much damage. Like, we limited the damage, which I thought was pretty cool, considering, like, and that's probably why Wink went with what he did, is because we got beat. We almost got beat by Tennessee because of our linebacker play. You know, Tay Crowder and Calitro and us just getting torched, you know, by those mid-range type throws where we had to depend on our linebackers. It's like, all right, well, fuck it. Let's just put all safeties out there. We'll give up some chunk running plays, but, like, you know, we just don't want to give up these big plays through the air. And they didn't, for the most part. I think the big one that did come was on a linebacker. So that leads us to the Dallas game. Monday Night Football. I took a look. I did some digging. I watched El Jefe put out his week 3 video that he does, his sketch with all the different Giants fans chiming in about what to expect and reviewing last week and looking ahead to this week. And he threw out a quote, like, the Giants haven't beaten the Cowboys on Monday Night Football since the 70s, which I was like, whoa. Of course, he was just being facetious, you know, trying to get a laugh. And he did. But I was like, I started to think, and I was like, whoa, when did the Giants last beat the Cowboys on Monday Night Football? Because it's been a while. And so I went on Pro Football Reference and I looked at it, and there's been probably a dozen or more Monday night games. The first handful of games, I almost want to say the first half, definitely more than a quarter of the Monday Night Football games were all at Dallas. I mean, you just got smoked every time because it was like the 70s. And then in the 80s, we also didn't fare that well. And then I think we won once in 99, and that was based on Tiki Barber's punt return for a touchdown. They won 13-10. Back when Tiki was like still returning punts and not really our starting running back, which is nuts to think about. And then 06 and 2010, I think, on Monday Night Football were the last 2 wins against the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not sure if you heard, but there's a whiteout. It's like, God damn, every player was tweeting about it. And they're going on like every video that you see, every post that the Giants are doing, it's like whiteout. And it's like, I get it. And it was funny. I saw a tweet, you know, the team, the players, the organization, the franchise is asking the fans to wear white. And it's like, hey, you know what you could do? You could just hand out white clothes, white shirts. But you hand out, instead they're going to hand out white towels. And it's like, okay, all right. But again, I'll make this point until it changes. Every time we wear those fucking uniforms, we lose. I don't think we've won once. Yes, they look fresh to death. They look clean as hell. They don't help us win. I believe in that stuff. I'm superstitious as hell. So I hope this is not a letdown game because we stink historically. It doesn't matter who the coaches are or the players. We stink against backup quarterbacks. That loss we had in 2012 to John Kitna at home still crushes me to this day. That loss to Vince Young at home in 2011 still crushes me to this day. It bothers me so much. It's like I feel like Tweak from South Park. Anyway, yeah. So it'll be a big win though. That is a season defining win if we can pull it off. I don't think it's going to be a blowout type situation. I mean, the Cowboys, I eventually fell asleep, but I watched most of the Cowboys-Bengals game. It's like either the Bengals are just like falling apart, which, all right, I guess they have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover from last year, a little sophomore slump. And they probably should have won the game against the Steelers week 1. And they had opportunities to win this game against the Cowboys after, they came back late where they scored a touchdown and get the 2-pointer to tie it up, I think, or to come within 3. But no, Dallas pulls away and gets the upset win. God damn, that sucked. Very, very disappointing. But, so if you're talking about like, hey, what's your worry level? What's your worry level with the Cowboys on Monday night? A little bit. Okay, if we're looking at the meter, right, left or right, if we're looking at the meter, it's not halfway. It's still in that like first quarter range. Like I just filled up the tank like a week ago. Like we're good. So I'd like to see Saquon bust out. Someone posted a tweet of like, here's what happened the last time Saquon Barkley played in front of a whiteout. And he went off and it was against Michigan. And man, those videos give me chills, dude. The amount of volume that they had going on, like the offense not being able to operate, the opponent's offense not being able to operate. It's just like, miss that. Love that. So I think, you don't have to worry about the fans bringing the noise and the funk, dude. But I think you do have to worry about this offense. And if there is one saving grace for the Cowboys, it's their defense. Micah Parsons and the defense, it's not like they have performed. It's not they played poorly. They gave up 19 points to the Buccaneers, but like their offense wasn't doing them any favors. And they gave up maybe 17 points against the Bengals, they've got a lot of weapons on offense. Not an offensive line, but they have Burrow and Higgins and Chase and all them. So, that's going to be the real where the battle is. Because I have, even though our team's defenses of yore have played less than exceptional against backup quarterbacks over the years, I think Wink's got something for that ass. I think Wink is going to dink and dunk Cooper Rush all up and down his body. I think he's gonna dial up something nice. And early indications are that Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau day to day, and they could be in the mix, which would add you think our defense is fucking legit now with what we got going on in terms of the roster. You throw in 2 pretty nice pass rushers, edge rushers. I can only imagine Martindale must be slipping in his own drool thinking about all the possibilities with that going on in the field. Sucks to lose Leonard Williams. I heard it's an MCL, which is similar to Thibodeau's. What happened to Thibodeau, which means he's probably going to be out for 3-4 weeks. Who knows? That being said, yeah, he was getting a lot of good pressure alongside Dexter Lawrence. I don't know that he was getting the same amount of pressures and hits that he usually does. Maybe I need to look at the stats a little bit more. But the eye test, right? It's he had a couple plays where he bull rushed or he pushed the pocket in, dented the pocket, and then that's how O'Shane Ximines got his sack. But we missed him for the entire second half, I think it was. And the defense held steady. I like what's going on with the rest of our D-line. I think that we have enough capable, able bodies to fill in for him. Are we going to do the same things that we were going to do with him? No, but I think, I just think Martindale is a master class in scheming. And I think he knows exactly how to handle both Zeke and Cooper Rush. Especially with Tyron Smith being out at left tackle. Although I feel like the Cowboys have tremendous depth on the defensive line, so I wouldn't be surprised if the next fucking perennial All-Pro slots in for them. So would be a huge win. I think it's so funny too that the Cowboys hate playing in the navy blue uniforms. It's such a weird thing, but again, superstition. I hear you. Stevie Wonder style. I hear you. Very superstitious, riding on the wall. So yeah, I mean, we haven't been 1-0 in 6 years. Check it off the list. 2-0 in a few years. Check it off the list. We haven't beaten the Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Check it off the list. Just checking them all off the list. I just, knowing how 2016 turned out with our offense still not being able to really, take it to that next level of production, I'm hoping that we don't get stuck in that same rut that the 2016 offense did. I mean, the 2016 offense was like basically OBJ making huge plays. And we don't have an OBJ, even though there's rumors that he's coming back. And it's like, okay, so we're going to sign an OBJ, and Dayball will play him 2 snaps, and he'll flip out. And then we have 4 disgruntled receivers. We have so many disgruntled receivers right now. We definitely hold the record for most disgruntled receivers on one team. Darius Slayton cannot be happy right now. Kenny Golladay, obviously not happy. Kadarius Toney, I think he does care more about winning than the stats, but at some point, I think even he's got to be like, what the fuck? And another parallel between 2022 and 2016, I mean, this year's Sterling Shepard is the 2016 Victor Cruz, coming back off a horrific injury and not looking the same, but still like coming up with big plays here and there. Because like Victor Cruz wouldn't have the 10-9 catches that he would put up in like 2012, 2013, 2011 for 100 some odd yards. He'd have like 3 catches for like 41 yards, and one of those catches would be for 20. It's like you always have a big chunk play mixed in there every game. So Sterling Shepard this year is like 2016 Victor Cruz. You'd like to think that Kadarius Toney can be the kind of game changer that OBJ was, but I don't know if you got enough of a sample size his rookie year to say that. And so far this year, it's like not looking that way, even though he gets open, and every time he touches the ball, it's electric. Anyway, so I predict a win. I think it's going to be close yet again. I mean, again, it's hard not like the parallels between that 2016 team and this team are just like eerie, dude. We're going to win a lot of games this year, I think, more than people expect, but they're all going to be very close wins where they all could be losses. I mean, that 2016 team, 11-5, I think like 5 or 6 of those games were like less than a score. They won by less than a score, and it was always like the defense making a stand at the end of the game. Nerve-wracking. But week 3, and I'm already talking about 11-5 and playoffs. It's fucking absurd. The life of a Giants fan. Let's go Giants.